Hi, good afternoon. We're going to do a sound check before we start. So if you can just say test 1, 2, 3, 4 twice, that'd be perfect for me. We can start at the far end. You will need to press a button for you to talk. So go ahead and press the button once, you'll light up, and then go ahead and say test 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, next.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Awesome, next. Sir? If you can go ahead and bring down your mic a little bit closer to your face so that we can hear you talk. Thank you so much, sir.
Test 1, 2, 3.
One more time, sir.
Test 1, 2, 3.
Okay, and last, sir.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
One more time, sir.
Test 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is your button on the console red? You'll see it at the bottom.
It is.
Okay.
Test. 4.
One more time, sir.
Test.
It's a different mic, it looks like.
Test.
Test.
And you on me? Test 1, 2.
Okay, it's 6:07, and we'll start this Board of Adjustment meeting for April the 24th. And for all of you that are here, welcome. One of the important things is there are a lot of newbies out here with all this information, trying to kick this in, but we'll work on it thanks to the people that are here to help us out. So first thing on the agenda is we'll call this to order, and we'll start with a roll call. And the roll call from left to right.
Frank McElroy, present.
Earl Hartzog.
Regina A.G.
And Richard Jevitt. All right. At the present time, what we want to do is open this up so we can hear any of the people that would like to speak from the audience over here. If there's anybody that would like to talk, they have 3 minutes in which they can do a presentation or whatever it is they want. Name and address, please, when you come up to speak. And if it is not related to the agenda items, you might want to take and present your specific item at the time we present the agendas. So if there's anybody here that would like to speak right now. All right, going once, twice, 3 times. Okay, let's go move on. Okay, the first thing is we would like to do the consent items, and that would be the minutes for the March, okay, what is that, 6th, 2023 regular meeting. Has everybody had a chance to take a look at that? Yes? Okay.
I'll move to approve the minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have approval from Mr. McElroy,
Second.
second from Gina. All those in favor? Say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, motion carried, and the minutes have been approved. Okay. Great. What we are going to do here on the items that we have, it will be done in the form of a public hearing. And what that means is that The presentation will be done by staff, and staff then will, after they finish, we'll be able to listen to any of the people from the audience who would like to speak on that particular issue, okay? And then, after we close the public hearing, the board will take a look at it, and if there are questions to be asked, they will then do that of staff and/or the applicants as well, okay? All right. Item number 1, or A, it's PLVAR 2023-0038, a request for variance to Unified Development Code, Article 9, Section 2198, screening and fencing in order to permit an opaque fence within the front yards of 4710 Shady Lane and 4715 Troy Lane, City of Schertz, and Guadalupe County, Texas. So, Samuel, please.
Evening, board members. PLVAR 2023-0038, Samuel Haas, Senior Planner. Okay, the subject properties are going to be outlined here in green. This is going to be in the Live Oak Hills subdivision. So as you know, we are required to notice property owners within 200 feet of the variance request. And the red line there is indicating that 200-foot buffer. So these are all the properties that were notified of this variance. So 25 public hearing notices were sent. As of 5 o'clock today, we only have 3 responses, and they're all in favor. So the request. So the property owner is requesting a variance from UDC Article 9, Section 2198, screening and fencing, in order to permit an opaque fence within the front yards of the subject property. 2198 stipulates that a fence in the front yard can be a maximum of 4 feet. It shall be non-opaque, and it shall be a decorative fence material. The applicant is requesting to install a 6-foot wood privacy fence in order to increase privacy and security for the property. So I'll direct your attention to this exhibit here. The subject property is outlined in yellow. There is a walking trail that was put in place by the city that is in brown there. You can see it runs fairly close to the property there. The current fence that's up right now is the picture that you see before you. It's a wood with a black tarp material in order to achieve that sort of privacy effect. So the requested variance, we feel that while on its face might violate the UDC intent, we think that staff has kind of considered that this property should not be evaluated like a normal residential district. The surrounding land is undeveloped. The streets are non-construction, as you know, of the Live Oak Hill subdivision. And more importantly, in 2019, 4709 Shady Lane was granted a variance for the same exact request. And if I go back to this exhibit here, that property that's outlined in blue there, right across the street, got this same variance request in 2019. We're good. So as privacy and safety are concerned with the newly created City of Schertz walking trail, that being only 55 feet away, having the variance granted for the same request across the street, and we think that the proposed variance is consistent with what's in the area. The request would have minimum to no impact on the adjacent property owners. Additionally, the wood fence would eliminate the current fence and enhance the aesthetic quality of the property. So therefore, staff recommends approval of PLVAR 2023-0038 to allow for the desired privacy fence in the front yards. Are there any questions?
Excuse me, before we get into the questions, is there anyone else here that would like to speak on this particular issue? All right, thank you. Okay, any questions from the board?
Just one. To me, looking at the photo, can you put that back up again? Looks like it's a side yard, not and I vaguely remember that other request back. Am I right? That's not a front yard, that's like a side, right?
That is a side yard, sir, but that particular area where you can see the two poles together there and then where it kind of dips down on the left, that's actually an entrance gate. That's about 20 feet from the front of the property. So by my understanding, it would still be, kind of the same area because I don't believe that it's allowed on the front section of the yard either on the side.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. One back property right here. Which property does the applicant own?
The two that are outlined in yellow there.
And where's the applicant's lot?
It's both of those lots that are outlined in yellow. One's 4710 Shady Lane and one's 4715 Troy Lane. The variance request is for both of these properties.
So where does he live? Where does the applicant live? I mean, is that one shaded orange?
Yes, sir. Where the orange is our residence, and the two yellow are the properties, and they're actually kind of like an extension of our backyards.
Okay, is that gonna be a problem? Do we foresee a problem? I don't know. I pass.
Brian?
Yeah, no, if I may, Mr. Herzog, and I can appreciate that. So one of the things, just for awareness, and you may or may not know, is the city acquired most of the lots where the trail is from LCRA, so we own those. You may recall that the school district bought most of the other lots
Right.
in Live Oak Hills on this side of Schertz Parkway. We just bought those from them a couple of months ago as well. So most of these lots are owned by the city, and we are not likely going to develop anything on this side of Wiederstein Road. So what makes this one different is if you've been out there and looked, these are not paved streets. They're kind of clear, grassy area, and that's why we're okay with it. So from our perspective, for the Alexanders to have that fence around the whole property, perfectly fine, won't create any issues. What you may have noticed is a lot of folks who live back here, they'll buy the lot behind them to just essentially have a really big backyard, and that's kind of what they've done in this case. So no, we don't think it poses any problem for them to have a 6-foot privacy fence essentially in what's the front yard of those two lots. We think it's perfectly fine. The board granted that for this property a few years ago, hasn't proven to be problematic because again, there's not really going to be any development in here to speak of because the city acquired most of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I just hope it isn't a problem. It'll come out probably sometime from now that we did a wrong thing, maybe.
Yeah, no, I can appreciate it. We don't think it's a problem, in part because the city owns so much of that land back there. We think it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Is this property under any kind of HOA?
I don't believe the subject properties are, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything is pretty well known, okay. So at this point, yes, I would accept the motion. Anyone?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, I have a motion, Mr. White?
I'll second.
All right, have a second from Regina. Okay, if, please vote on your little, whatever they are. Okay, the vote is complete, so I think I'm supposed to say publish the vote. Is that correct? Thank you, Mayor. All right, thank you very much. Move on to,
Yeah, can we? There we go.
I'm sorry? Very good. All right, this is going to take a while to get
Yeah,
used
go
to.
ahead. Yeah, that's all right.
All right.
I second it.
Yes. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Let's go with item number B. And it's PLVAR 2023-0027. It's a request for a variance to Unified Development Code, Section 2111.9, in order to permit an additional wall sign on a multi-tenant building located at 17670 Four Oaks Lane, the city of Schertz, Guadalupe County, Texas. All right.
Thank you, board members. PLVAR 2023-0027, Samuel Haas, Senior Planner. So the subject property is outlined here in green. It is the Four Oaks Distribution Center that's on Four Oaks Lane. So this is the Walmart just to the south, and 3009 over here off to the west. Public hearing notice. Just to reiterate, we are required to notice people within 200 feet of the request. On April 5th, we sent out 7 public hearing notices, and we received no responses as of 5 p.m. today. So the property is requesting a variance from UDC section 2111.9 in order to permit a sign that is greater than the maximum allowable square footage, as well as additional signs on the multi-tenant building. Article 11, section 2111.9B states that the maximum allowable square footage for a wall sign on Four Oaks Lane is 80 square feet. I'll kind of elaborate on that a little bit later. And then Article 11, section 2111.9C states that the maximum number of wall signs permitted for a multi-tenant building is 2. So here is the request. This is for MSI flooring. You'll see that there are 3 signs on the primary facade. The first sign is this MSI flooring countertops. It's a 14 by 10 sign. That would be 140 square feet. The third sign would be this showroom sign. It's going to be 14 by 1.5 or 21 square feet. And then the third sign on the primary facade would be this Making Dream Services Attainable. And that is going to be a 19 by 1 sign for 19 square feet. And that's kind of what and then they also are proposing a secondary sign over here on the secondary wall. So essentially they're going to have 4 signs for this property. So 2111.9, here's kind of the requirements that we're looking at when evaluating this variance request. So we have, when considering the size of a wall sign, there's basically 3 streets that we designate. Streets with limited access, which is going to be like the I-35 frontage road, things like that. There are streets with unlimited access, such as FM 3009, FM 1518, and then there's also what we consider all other streets, which is what Four Oaks Lane falls under. And so due to that, they are allowed a sign that's 10% of the facade area or 80 square feet, whichever is less. And then the maximum allowed sign for a multi-tenant building is 2 signs, one on the primary facade and then one on the secondary wall. So going back here, essentially sign A and sign D would be allowed under that specific requirement. So staff believes that the requested variance does violate the intent of the UDC. The property abuts 4 Lane, which is classified as an all-other street. So the maximum allowable sign would be 80 square feet. The request is also asking for 2 additional signs on the primary wall when only 1 is permitted. There's no special conditions on this property. The hardship, we believe, there is no hardship present, we believe. The UDC is clear with the requirements. There are other properties within the same zoning district that have larger signs, but that's because they are on the I-35 access road. So, the UDC is pretty clear about the limitations for wall signs and number of wall signs on a multi-tenant building. The applicant is requesting larger than allowable signs and a total of 4. Staff recommends denial of PLVAR 2023-0027. Any comments or questions?
Thank you. Just to, let me ask a quick question. I remember us having a meeting not too long ago, pretty much on something similar to this.
Yes.
And it had to do with 3 signs, I believe it was. And we did approve that.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that first approval, was there an anticipated change to the UDC code to be able to make that?
So the last meeting that we had, the subject property was in the Verde PDD,
Right.
which is a special zoning district up in the Tri-County Parkway area. So basically, their sign requirements are based off of the 98 UDC, which are very restrictive. So the staff supported that variance because we thought that it was fair to the applicant to apply current zoning standards, current UDC standards to their sign requirements. So theirs were extra restrictive. So this, although I can understand why it seems similar, it's different because of the zoning districts are completely different.
Right. Okay. Anyone else with any questions?
Is the applicant present?
The applicant is not present.
Anyone?
Sure, I'll question one. Can we approve this thing on the size and give one of those extra second one so that they don't have to come back in again, or will they have to come back in again if they want to put a secondary sign? I can't.
So how many signs do you?
2, just like,
That's what's allowed in the UDC currently.
okay,
1 on the primary facade and then 1 on the secondary facade. So they are allowed 2, but what they're asking for is 4, and they're asking for larger than allowable as well.
okay. Okay.
All right, anybody else? Okay, do I hear a motion? Gina, go ahead.
What is their total signage? The big sign's on the left-hand side?
Yeah,
What is the size of that? Total size?
140 square feet.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Please vote on your wonderful machine.
We'll press yes.
All right, please publish the vote.
So you would have to vote in the affirmation to deny it. Does that make sense?
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, just getting used to this wonderful system, okay. Please publish the vote now, okay, as it is. Yes, okay, and that was denied. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on. We're looking for announcements from members that have attending different organizations or anything. Starting with Mr. McElroy.
No announcements.
Herzog. All right, that was pretty easy. And any announcements by city staff?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jevitt. Members, I'd like to take a moment we have 2 new planners on staff, and I'd like to take a moment to introduce them and offer them the mic if they'd like. First, we have Amarez Gomez, and then here we have Daisy Marquez.
Oh, thank you very much, please.
Hello. I've been here the past few months, and I've been really enjoying working here, and I look forward to working with each of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Daisy Marquez. I started 2 weeks ago, so I'm brand new. I'm excited to work with y'all.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for joining us. All right.
One thing, oh, sorry,
Mr. Hart, go ahead.
okay. Press my button, where's my button? One thing, just mention this new system. It worked. I could hear, my hearing aids worked and everything else. And I knew what everybody was saying. So it's fixed.
Anybody else? Okay, it is now 6:32, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
We have to vote.